Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Welcome back to Red Sox Focus. Something about this start to the 2026 season does not sit right, and it goes well beyond the record. The noise surrounding this team right now has reached a level that demands a direct, honest response, because what is being said out there says far more about the media's impatience than it does about the actual state of this roster. This week, two separate situations surfaced at the same time that, when examined together, paint a clear picture of how the outside world is choosing to frame the Boston Red Sox right now. One involves a trade proposal that is as insulting as it is premature. The other is a broader question about whether this team is genuinely positioned to turn things around, or whether the pressure is beginning to force decisions nobody should be making in mid-April. We are going to break down both, tell you exactly where we stand, and make the case for why the narrative being constructed around this franchise right now is simply wrong. Let's start with the standings, because context matters. The Boston Red Sox are 7-11 through the first few weeks of the season. That is not the start anyone wanted, and this channel is not in the business of pretending otherwise. The offense has been inconsistent. The rotation has had its difficult moments. The injury situation has complicated things. All of that is real. But here is what is equally real. It is April 16th. The Houston Astros, a team built to compete at the highest level, came out of the gate looking like one of the most dangerous clubs in baseball before dropping 8 consecutive games and falling to 8-11. The Minnesota Twins currently lead the American League with just 11 victories. Every team in this league is compressed into a narrow band, and the difference between looking like a contender and looking like a seller is a single quality week of baseball. The idea that meaningful trade decisions should be driven by what has happened through 18 games is not serious analysis. It is noise, and it needs to be called out as such. That brings us to Bleacher Report's Joel Reuter, who published a column this week identifying teams he categorizes as contenders in danger of selling off. The Red Sox were included in a proposed 1-for-1 trade that would send Aroldis Chapman to the Arizona Diamondbacks in exchange for left-handed pitching prospect Kohl Drake. The moment you read the details of that proposal, the conclusion is immediate. This is a trade idea that the Boston Red Sox should look at once and never think about again. Let's start with what Aroldis Chapman actually is right now, because the proposal seems to underestimate him dramatically. Chapman won the Mariano Rivera American League Reliever of the Year award in 2025. He did not narrowly edge someone out. He earned it convincingly, posting a 1.17 ERA across 67 appearances with a 0.70 WHIP, 12.5 strikeouts per 9 innings, and 32 saves. He was statistically one of the most dominant relief pitchers on the planet. He did not allow more than 1 run in a single appearance all season. 58 of his 67 outings were completely scoreless. He set a franchise record with 17 consecutive hitless outings over a stretch from late July through early September. He is an 8-time All-Star, a 2-time World Series champion, and sits at 370 career saves, a number that puts him among the most accomplished closers in baseball history. And in 2026, he has continued that form. Through 6 appearances, Chapman carries a 1.50 ERA with 3 saves. He is still the same automatic shutdown presence he was a season ago. The Red Sox have not had enough 9th-inning leads to fully deploy him, but that is a product of the offense struggling, not a reflection of anything Chapman has done wrong. When he takes the mound in a save situation, the game feels finished. That psychological advantage, the sense of certainty in the 9th inning, is something that cannot be quantified easily, but matters enormously to how a manager constructs a game. What makes the proposal truly indefensible is the contract. Aroldis Chapman is making $13 million in 2026 with a conditional option for the 2027 season. Consider what elite closers are commanding in today's market. Devin Williams signed with the New York Mets for $51 million over 3 years, following a down year with the Yankees. Robert Suarez secured $45 million from the Atlanta Braves at 35 years old. Edwin Diaz landed $69 million from the Los Angeles Dodgers. That is the going rate for premium late-inning arms. The Red Sox have a pitcher performing at the very top of that tier for $13 million. The contract alone makes Chapman nearly untouchable, and the production he is delivering at that price point is among the best values in the sport this season. Now look at what is being offered in return. Kohl Drake is a 25-year-old left-handed pitcher currently working at the AAA level in the Arizona system. He checks in as Arizona's 11th ranked prospect depending on the publication, which means he is not even a top 10 asset within his own organization. His trajectory has shown genuine promise at lower levels. He posted a 2.44 ERA with impressive strikeout numbers at AA in 2025. But he struggled considerably when promoted to AAA, posting a 9.18 ERA across 16.2 innings in the Pacific Coast League, one of the most offense-friendly environments in all of professional baseball. His scouting profile suggests a back-end starter with feel and pitchability, but no single plus pitch that generates consistent swing and miss at the highest level. He could develop into a serviceable major league arm. He could also not. Trading a proven, elite, well-compensated closer for a mid-level prospect with real questions about his ceiling is not a deal that reflects the actual market, and it is not a deal that any competently run organization would seriously consider. The comparison Reuters draws to the Kansas City Royals' 2023 trade deadline deal, in which they sent Chapman to the Texas Rangers for Cole Ragans, who developed into a genuine rotation piece, is interesting in theory but falls apart in practice. That transaction occurred in late July, with Chapman operating as a rental on an expiring contract for a Royals team that had no realistic path to contention that season. The circumstances were entirely different. The Red Sox are not a team shutting things down in a rebuilding summer. They are a team with real talent, a genuine closer on a bargain contract, and several weeks of baseball remaining before anyone should be drawing conclusions about what this season will become. From Arizona's perspective, the proposal is straightforward and makes complete sense. Their bullpen has been one of the worst in baseball through the early portion of the season, ranking 24th in ERA with 5 blown saves in just 12 opportunities. Plugging Aroldis Chapman into that 9th inning would fix their most glaring problem immediately. But what makes sense for Arizona is precisely what makes it a bad deal for Boston. You do not solve another team's urgent need by gutting your own most valuable asset in exchange for a prospect who ranks outside their top 10. Here is the deeper issue with why this trade speculation is so frustrating, and it goes beyond the specific details of the proposal. The fact that this conversation is happening in April, that a media outlet is categorizing the Red Sox as a team in danger of selling within the first few weeks of the season, reflects a broader dismissiveness toward what this roster actually has. This is not a team that has been conclusively beaten. This is a team working through an inconsistent stretch while dealing with real injury complications, a young core still finding its footing, and a competitive landscape where every team in the American League is fighting for position within a very narrow margin. Wilyer Abreu has been one of the best hitters in the American League this season. Wilson Contreras, before his back issue surfaced, was posting a .298 average with a .444 on-base percentage and elite defense at first base. Connolly Early has a 2.29 ERA through 4 starts and may be the most reliable starting pitcher on the roster. Trevor Story is beginning to produce again after a slow start. Roman Anthony is gaining confidence and hitting the ball with more authority. The pieces are here. The results have been inconsistent, but the talent has not evaporated. Chapman specifically is not just a statistical contributor, he is a stabilizing presence on a roster that needs stability. When he is available, Alex Cora only needs to protect 8 innings with his rotation and bullpen. That changes how a manager approaches every single game. It simplifies high-leverage decisions. It absorbs pressure from the setup core, Removing him from this equation does not just cost you a closer, it fundamentally changes how the entire staff is constructed and deployed. You take Chapman out of this team right now, and you are not solving a problem. You are creating a larger one at the exact position where Boston has the most certainty. The honest assessment is this: Aroldis Chapman is almost certainly not going to be traded, and even if the Red Sox were to entertain offers, which they should not be at this point in the season, the return would need to be dramatically more significant than Kohl Drake. A proven, award-winning closer on a team-friendly contract in the middle of a competitive season is worth substantially more than a mid-level prospect with AAA struggles on his resume. Any return worthy of consideration would need to include multiple pieces, with at least one high-ceiling arm or position player near the top of a quality farm system. But the fact that this conversation is being published and circulated in the baseball media landscape says something important. It says that people outside Boston are not fully reckoning with what this team is capable of when everything is clicking. It says that a slow April is being extrapolated into a conclusion that nobody has earned the right to draw yet. And it says that the Red Sox are going to need to do their talking on the field because the noise from outside is not going to quiet itself on its own. The only thing that shuts down trade speculation in April is winning baseball games in May and June. The moment this team strings together consecutive quality series, all of this disappears as quickly as it arrived. The roster is capable of that. The talent is here. The urgency to respond is real, and it is building with every game on the schedule. This is Red Sox Focus. The conversation about where this season is headed is just getting started, and we will be here for all of it.
Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.